Yeah!
What we don't, this is going to cost money. What we don't do is make sure that we've got a lobbying effort going on in D.C. of first responders. Now this year, I funded 12 first responders in D.C. along with myself. Out of pure selfishness, see, I want to live, I want to steal tomorrow. I've got a lot of really good reasons to wake up the next day. The reason that it takes so much effort to get first responders there, just 12 first responders in Washington, D.C., going through the Rayburn and the Cannon building, meeting with our elected officials, these scumbags who actually turn around to us and say, I really feel your pain. No, you don't. Give me about 5 minutes with you and you will. You don't feel my fucking pain. You can't. Now, my pain is waking up every morning and taking a drug called hydroxyurea, which makes you throw up for about an hour and a half. My pain means going through round after round of chemo until something clicks. My pain and the pain of other first responders means figuring out how you work and keep your home or your apartment or your kids fed while you're sick as hell and the assholes in D.C. and Albany figure out who pays for us. There's a dozen first responders that I know of personally who become homeless, who are sleeping on other first responders' couches or have moved back home with their parents. And that's not a really great way to honor our quote-unquote heroes. So when people say we're heroes, just buy me a drink. Tomorrow's 9/11. What I'm proposing to you now is action. Give me 30 highly motivated sons of bitches, just like I had in the 1st and 69th Infantry, 42nd Division. When we got our orders to go down to 9/11, nobody wondered, well, should we do this? Let's have a quasi-analysis of the implications of this scenario. Our first sergeant told us to get in the fucking Air Force Reserve, but he did his shit that day. He was my medic. So, he's got some stuff to say. And afterwards, everyone wants to meet me outside between the men's and the women's room to try to get a bus, full of us and you, to D.C. in the next 6 weeks, so we can tell these assholes in Washington during an election year that leaving first responders on food stamps and public assistance is morally reprehensible. I'll talk to you back there.
My partner, 2 rescues down on 11. It comes again, doing the same. I agree that the people are waking up. We're living in the age of Aquarius now, and they're trying to spoil our wealth. And we're not going to let that happen either. We're not going to live in the shadow of their lies. I'd like to leave you with a quote that I have. Actually, first I'd like to say about all the beams that were cut by 8 o'clock at night on September 11th. Meanwhile, all the acetylene was staged and guarded up at Canal Street. I don't understand how all the welding got done, especially when there was a shortage of iron workers. Maybe it was thermite.
Yeah.
Just want to leave you with this quote that I humor myself with, and it's, let freedom ring. This number has been disconnected. No further information is available. Please call back some other time. Thanks a lot.
Did you just hear what this first responder was saying? And we've talked to dozens who said the same thing, and it's on the record. The local radio announced it. The countdown to blow Building 7, smoking gun proof. But CNN wants to be on television tomorrow in a taped interview, and they want me to talk about the Pentagon. So they want to only stay on that subject, not the hundreds and hundreds of witnesses of bombs and countdowns. Please take a few of my minutes and detail what you were just talking about with the controlled demolition. Please, sir.
I'm not sure what street it was, but there's a clip of Amy Goodman running from the cloud. I was about 40 feet away from her, and it was the same intersection. And we were split up into half of us were going to be medical support, and this is all within the domain of Red Cross. Half of us were going to be medical support, and the other people were going to be search and rescue. Now, we were kind of mad because the people that actually had medical support training wanted to do the search and rescue work, but we were getting like split up with no rhyme or reason. And we saw it was like 4 or 5 city buses just packed to the hill with citizens, New York citizens that would want to just go down there and help. They thought that they were going to go down there and help, and next thing you know, 10 minutes later, Building 7 drops. While we were on the right side, there was firefighters getting ready. They were bustling back and forth, and a couple of vets that were there, they got the vibe that something was coming down. And we started asking questions. Everybody started asking questions, and then next thing you know, there were the Red Cross representatives pacing back and forth in front of the crowd, holding his hand over the radio. And I couldn't hear what it was saying, but it was like, it was pulsed. Whatever the speech was on there was pulsed, and that means to me it was most likely a countdown. But he took his hand off at the last 3 seconds, and he gave this like heartfelt look, like he didn't want, just run for your life, because he didn't want to bring it on his conscience. He didn't want to go to his grave with that. And we only had a couple seconds to put our heads together, and it was like 3/4 of us ran up the street, and then the other 1/4 of us were like standing there like, what should we do? And next thing you know, like they started to funnel out and run into the crowd because there was a stampede going up the street, and like 3 or 4 people were started hitting people, football style, to open up a hole like it was a mosh pit, and started picking people off the ground. And there was a woman there that I guess picked up the wrong way and put my hands on the wrong area, and she went to take a swing at me, and I pushed her on her way. And that's basically how that went down. And then about 15, 20 minutes later, the smoke cleared. After I started to get hit with a little bit of debris, I ran into an archway for a door because that was the most protected area I could find. And maybe about 15, 20 minutes later, it started to clear up, and everybody funneled back into the intersection, and they said, oh, come back at 10 o'clock, and then we'll be ready to roll out. Came back at 10 o'clock, nobody was there. Went on my own from then. And that's pretty much how it went down.
Folks, we're running a little bit late, so I'm not going to give you too big of a speech tonight. It was great seeing you. It was great seeing you last night. It's great seeing you here this evening. And I want to see you, please, out there on Tuesday morning, and bring a couple people with you, because this is the 6th anniversary of Black Ops carrying out that attack. And as sad as the murders were, and as painful as all the sick rescue workers are, the good news in all of this is it's shown us just how evil the authority figures in our lives are. And I know earlier in one of the speeches with some of the musicians, they eloquently spoke, one of them in particular, about authority figures. And he used the analogy of the Catholic priest. The people trust up there and thought could never do anything wrong. And that's where the corruption was rampant and out of control. And it's the same thing with government. You get secrecy, and then you combine with that power, and it's going to be corrupted overnight. But the New World Order, when they set the CIA up out of the OSS in 1947, the National Security Act was set up by evil people to literally legalize everything they were going to do in the future. And we are now multi-generations in with the greatest evil ever known in history. These are the people who are carrying the torch for those that built Hitler, literally, those that built Stalin,